Welcome back into the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den today. Happy Friday, everybody. The end of the week rolling around. Finally Friday, folks. Talking Baylor baseball today. We've had a lot of recaps in track, women's basketball schedule release. Football has their times coming up next season. And this guy and his women's golf team, another top 15 finish in the country. Coach Jay Goble joining the show today. Coach, thanks for coming on with us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I love the, you got like the hat tan, kind of the sunglasses tan going on too. It's very golf of you.
Yeah, well, Scottsdale, Arizona is a little bit sunny, and yes, so I do have it going on right now.
He said, and yes. I love that. I love it. Well, tell me, Coach, another successful season for your team. I know people take it for granted so much, the success of programs. We pointed to softball, too. They've made it to 14 NCAA tournaments in the last 19 years, and at this point, people take so much for granted, the wins that Baylor program has across the board, and your team is a part of that, just being so automatic every year that people expect this kind of success from you, and you guys did it again with a top 15 finish. Really, how do you wrap all this season up into a bow?
Well, I think this has been a great season. It's been a lot of fun to coach the group that I had. We did have 3 freshmen that traveled the entire year with us, which was fantastic and again bodes well for our future and future teams moving forward. But I think the big thing with our team this year is we had a lot of enthusiasm to play with 2020 being the way that it was, and COVID, and them not having an opportunity to play a lot of golf last summer. They came into the year excited at the opportunity to compete, excited to be back at Baylor. And we had a packed schedule for them, and we played a ton of golf this year. And again, I think that they were just excited at that opportunity. I would say that moving forward too, again, with 3 freshmen that were in the lineup, Gerline Core going to be back next year. I'm going to watch her play in the U.S. Open next week. We're going to have an awesome team moving forward as well.
Coach, I wanted to go a different direction here in the next question, but you mentioned the name that I was going to get to pretty quickly. That's Gerline Core, and just her complete body of work across the sport. She's just so automatic. Talk about really her as an athlete, what she does to boost your program. Well,
Gerline is, first and foremost, she's a great person and a great teammate, but man, she's competitive, and she, I tell people this all the time. She sets really lofty goals, and she's one of the few people in my life that I've met that, man, she seems to find a way to reach all those goals every time she sets them. So one of the big things for her this year was the U.S. Open, because back in December, the delayed U.S. Open was at Champions in Houston, where she plays a lot of golf, and she was, I would say, a little disappointed in the opportunity not to be able to compete at Champions. But then, again, at the Golf Club of Houston, where we played so well this semester, she qualified for the U.S. Open at Olympic Club next week, which is, I would say an upgrade from playing down in Houston. I mean, Olympic Club has hosted many U.S. Opens and had many great winners. And, I think that it's going to be a really cool week for her. So I'm excited to get out there and watch her. And again, I'm just going out to support her because she really has done a ton for our program. I don't know exactly where she stands, but it's got to be probably one of the best scoring averages in school history. And, she goes out and really, year in, year out, tournament in, tournament out, she plays great.
Coach, you talked about her success. I mean, 2-time All-American and playing in Augusta, everything that comes with what she's been able to do at Baylor, and the legacy that she has already left. When you have a player like that in your program and you sit down with a recruit, how much does that help you to say, hey, here is what our golf program produces. Here's what we're able to put out there athlete-wise to contend for the top spots in the country, not just as a team, but individually?
Yeah, I think we've been really lucky over the years to have a good track record of players that have developed and played better and got better since they've been at Baylor. Gerline Core comes to mind. Haley Davis, one of the best players to ever play here. We've had Laura Lenardi, who improved a ton while she's here. In our lineup right now, we have Hannah Card, who, came to Baylor as a 2000th ranked player in the world, who's currently in the top 400. So, again, I'm proud of that, and I'm proud of our team and what they do to get here and work hard. But, I really, my assistant coach and I, Curly, we try to recruit players that are motivated to do well at everything they do. So, I'm really proud of what we've built here, and the fact that they come in and, work hard at school and work hard at golf, and we set really lofty goals ourselves, and man, they do everything they can to work hard to achieve those. And it's been a fun 10 years. I can't believe it's been 10 already.
Coach, I was going to go a bit off the script. I am going to go a bit off the script here. I was going to stick right to your season this past year, but I do want to know for you, from a coaching standpoint and being at Baylor, because I know it's different at Baylor, when you recruit, is it more finding a culture fit and someone who has the right mindset, or is it finding an athlete that's great at your sport?
Obviously you need players that are great at their sport, but I would say that, yes, we're trying to find players that fit in with our culture, fit in with our beliefs. And it's I would say that whole recruiting philosophy of mine has developed over the last 10 years. But being a coach here for 10 years now, I'm very well versed on the player, the kind of person, the kind of teammate we're looking for. And I feel like we have it rolling a little bit right now, because I'm excited about the group we have coming in next year, which, I think is only going to build on this awesome foundation we have right now. And I told my players when we got back from Greyhawk, I said, we have the advantage on any other team coming back here next year, because we've seen this place. We're going to have another competition here next year, actually the next 2 years. And, we're going to bring back 4 of the 5 next year. So the majority of the players that were on our team in Scottsdale last week will be back. But yeah, I think that, Baylor's been great. And with our facilities that we have now, and the membership at Ridgewood Country Club, and, the awesome school that Baylor, the awesome education that Baylor has to offer, it's not that tough of a sell. I think 10 years ago it was a much tougher sell than it is now.
Coach, with that this season, I know you joined the afternoon show here at the station just a couple of weeks ago to talk about the Baton Rouge Regional and the situation there, kind of with more of a 30,000-foot view and a couple of weeks removed from that. What is your assessment, as we go into more of an in-depth look at this last season, your assessment of what took place there in Baton Rouge?
Well, I think personally for our team, in my opinion, it actually hurt us at the national championship, because we had been 5 weeks removed from a competitive golf tournament. And that's too much time to be away from competitive golf, to be completely sharp at nationals. And I think that it showed in our first round. I think that, if you take our last 3 rounds combined, we played as good as any team out there. But that first round, really, we were trying to get our feet under us, and played a little bit sloppy, to be honest with you. And I think that if we would have got those reps in Baton Rouge, I think that we would have qualified still, and we would have got to the national championship maybe a little more competitively ready. And that's the unfortunate thing that happened. But, I'm 100% convinced that the committee did the right thing. The golf course was not playable, no matter what the wording, I guess the loose interpretation of playable. But the golf course was not playable, and they made the right decision. And thankfully we got to go to nationals, because, again, our team deserved that. We were always in the top 10 in the country all year. We won 6 times. We played 35 competitive rounds of golf during the year. And I think that for it all to boil down to a 18-hole shootout on a compromised golf course would have been a bad deal.
Coach, I do want to, for the listeners at home, let you off the hook here and say it was Bring Your Dog to Work Day in the studio, and that's Armstrong Schnauzers in the back. Armstrong, if you'll go, I'm sorry about that, Coach. We apologize for the inconvenience there. Armstrong. But for you, going into that championship, I want to know that first round for you guys, tied for 22nd place. You go 20 over par, which was uncharacteristic for your team. You talked about the layoff going into that. When you guys got back to the hotel that night, knowing that you're 14 spots out of that top 8 and had an uphill battle to go for the next couple of days, what was the message at 20 over after day one?
You know, the championship itself felt a lot like 2018, where we were also about 21st or second place after the first round. And I kind of gave a similar message to what I did in 2018, where we ended up finishing 8th, is that, you know, we just need to creep up this leaderboard. We just need to control the things we can control and play our game. You know, seen throughout the year, like our scoring average in tournaments for the year was under par. So I knew that if we could go shoot even par, better, a couple over, that we would move up that leaderboard a lot. So, yeah, I was just really, I wasn't concerned. I actually, you know, felt that we could even get into the top 8. And then looking back, you know, we played with Auburn in the last round and they shot 10 under par the last round to make it to the top 8 to make match play. And, you know, I really felt like we could do that. I felt like we could go out there and shoot a 5 to 10 under par round. And, you know, I think that experience at the national championship is going to bode well for us in the future. Unfortunately, that last day we weren't able to quite get it going like that. But as you can see, you know, moving forward, our rounds got better every day. And as a coach, that makes me feel good. And again, I think that we're going to own that place next year.
Coach, I was following the tournament, and, you know, I had number 1 South Carolina was on the hook for most of that championship play to try to vie for that field of 8. And I'm looking at it, we were talking in the studio just about the volatility of golf in itself, to try to place in that top 8, and how, whether it be the men's or women's side, it's almost anybody's game, more so than I would say, almost any other sport. What is that? I mean, the volatility of the sport in general, almost anybody's game when it comes to postseason.
Well, I think over the last 10 to 15 years, the parity in women's golf is unreal. Like, you know, the amount of teams that can go out there and shoot a good round or play a good tournament is night and day different than it was 10 years ago when I got to Baylor. And, you know, I just think that the conditions played a little bit of a part in that. You know, I think that we had probably the tougher draw in the first round. We had 20-mile-an-hour winds on the first day, and I'm not using that as an excuse, but I know that, you know, tough conditions can pull you out of your game, especially on a tough golf course. It can kind of compound mistakes and make it a little bit more difficult to play. But I do also believe that nerves come into that, and that's where a little bit of, you know, again, we didn't play a competitive round for 35 days. So, you know, you kind of got to get that out of your system sometimes. And this means a lot. It means a lot to the players. It means a lot to the coaches and the family of the player and the school. And, you know, big time golf like that, I think can wear on some people's nerves. But my team did a great job out there again. I feel like playing a poor first round and then coming back to get within, you know, 9 shots of making match play. Nobody would have guessed that after the first round, and it just goes to the competitiveness and the strong will and strong mind of my players. And again, it's golf is a tough sport. You can go out and shoot a great round today, and tomorrow's a different day sometimes. But yeah, I think that again, moving forward, we're going to be ready for this next year.
Coach, I'm doing a little reading up here on Elodie Chapelet and what she's meant to your program and been for you as a transfer from Lamar, and someone that really anchored your team again this year. Having her in that lineup, I mean, as I see it, COVID regulations eligibility-wise, was this her last season?
Yeah. So this, yes, this was her 6th year in college and her last season. She's got a master's degree now from Baylor. So it's been a good career for LOD. And man, and I told her, I talked to her yesterday. She's flying back home to France tomorrow. But the amount of that she means to Baylor and that she chose to come here and play. And she's one that I'll always remember for just leaving it all out on the golf course. Extremely talented, extremely driven to also achieve her goals. And she can flat out play. I mean, I looked at her record yesterday. I think she finished top 20 16 times in 2 years at Baylor. And that's a pretty unbelievable stat when you come down to, we only play 11 tournaments a year. So she's been pretty dominant on the golf course, but again, she wants to play professional golf for a living. And I think that, we gave her a good stepping stone to play in some great events and get great competition and get ready for life after college. And she's got a wonderful Baylor degree to fall back on if that doesn't work out. But my expectation is that LOD is going to be playing golf for a living for a long time.
Well, Coach, I know that all the COVID regulations for us in the studio, like we've had baseball players on this show that are almost 30 now because of all the extra years that people get and the loophole year. And so, again, what she's meant to your program, obviously, just looking down the stats here, like you said, 16 times placed in the top 20 has been unbelievable. And now you lose her, but you've got so much coming back. I mean, 5 of your 9 were freshmen this past season. When it comes to the experience you're regaining and an incoming class, really with that many roster spots you already know are full, what does the incoming class look like for you, and what is next year's kind of outlook already?
So next year's outlook, I think, is great. We have Antonia Matt from Chile coming to play. She's the top-rated player in South America. She brings a wealth of experience in international tournaments. My anticipation is she's going to be competing for one of those top 5 spots day one. We have Bai Mai Sima coming from Thailand. She's also one of the better players in her country. She's been on our radar and been actually committed to Baylor for quite a while now. So we're excited to finally see her get here onto campus. And then we have Mattingly Palmer all the way from Georgetown coming in, who, just had a top 5 finish at the state championship down in Austin. And she's a player that I see developing into, someone that can count in our lineup. And, again, we're losing LOD out of the top 5 and gaining 3 players that are going to compete for those spots. I feel really confident that the future's bright. And, something really cool that we have coming next year too is I believe 3 of our 9 tournaments regular season are going to be televised on the Golf Channel. So wow. The Golf Channel has made a real big commitment to college golf, and especially even women's college golf, which we're excited about and think that these, young women are really deserving to get the spotlight. And I hope to take them to some of these events and get on some primetime television next year.
Coach, we track planes and phone calls and everything else for recruiting, and you've mentioned Thailand, you've got South America, and then Georgetown, Texas. Help me nail down your pipeline. It's just like a big Bermuda Triangle from Vancouver all the way to about South Africa and then kind of that Antarctica. Like, where do you make your bed recruiting-wise? Come on.
Well, again, my associate head coach, Carly, she, I think in 2019, she went to 13 countries. So we're not trying to get the best player from down the street. We're trying to get the best player that we can recruit from around the world. So we're not scared to hop on an airplane, and we're not scared to go find the best player we can. And, again, with Antonia and Bai Mai, 2 incredible people, 2 incredibly driven players that want to play professional golf for a living, but are also excited about getting a great degree here at Baylor. So, yeah, I mean, we're not discriminating here at Baylor. We'll go find them from anywhere if they want to come play golf here.
Coach, you got to get Dave Aranda on the horn. I know I'm sure him and his staff, they offered a guy from Connecticut, and that was all the rave, how far away that is. You got Thailand and Chile coming in next year.
Yep.
I do, everything put together, a decade in now at Baylor for you, Coach, and what you've built. Prior to coming here, the school had never had an All-American, and now here you are, 4 out of the last 6 years, top 15 in the nation. You talked about 2018 making that field of 8 right on the cusp. Right at the cut, just all of it put together for you. When you think about this 10 years, what has it meant?
This last 10 years has been fantastic. I have to say, when I first got here, I felt like it was going to be a big challenge. We didn't have the resources that we have now. We didn't have the facilities we have now. We didn't have the support we have now. And I can truly say now to any recruit that walks on campus, we have everything you need to not only become the best student athlete you can, but the best person you can. I think the character development stuff that we have at Baylor is the best in the country. I think that the academic support we have is second to none. And it's just, again, we're trying to create good people to go out in the community and be successful at whatever they do. And I really feel that, again, now Baylor doesn't really have a need. When I got here, we had lots of needs to get better, and we have all those resources now. So when I have a top rated player in South America come up and look at Baylor, they're blown away because they have everything they need here to succeed. And I would say that wasn't exactly the case 10 years ago, but it sure is the case now.
Wow. Well, Coach, congratulations on decade number 1 in the books. You go 2 more. You get, I think it's the green jacket is the if you go 30. But I do want to know, being from North Carolina, I'm looking right here. So Charlotte guy, have you discussed that with the new men's tennis coach, Michael Woodson, yet, who is also a North Carolina guy?
You know what? I did not know he was a North Carolina guy. Absolutely not. I have been texting with him. I mean, it was awesome what they did this year, and his first year as head coach. I mean, man, it was an amazing run. And they played against the Gators a couple weeks ago and gave them a good match. And again, Baylor breeds success, and I'm happy for him and his program. And I think that also many years to come of success for him.
Well, Coach, I know you're familiar with the Gators, and just right there for Michael Woodson and the boys. Tell you, you've got your pipeline South America to Europe. Baylor Athletics has its pipeline in North Carolina. They're just picking up the head coaches of everybody they can get them from the Tar Heel State. But before we get you out of here, we had a Bear Games question today that kind of revolved around baseball, with those guys being right on the cusp of the NCAA tournament. But I want to flip it to you and change it a little bit for golf. If you could pick one golf course in the nation for your team to go play against 3 other schools, you guys just get a little 4-team, we'll go out and just have some fun for a weekend. Which 3 other schools are you having join you, and at which golf course? Anywhere. You could go to Augusta if you want.
Well, the funny thing is, this year I think we're about 65 under par at Golf Club of Houston. So I feel like, if we want a chance to beat anybody, we better go there probably. So, and I would love to play against Stanford, Duke, and Arizona State. I think that those have historically been the best, probably 3 teams over the last 20, 30 years in women's golf. And, knowing how well we play that golf course, I think we might dominate them all.
I love it. Hey, look, for travel purposes too, the team ops guy loves the answer as well. We're only going to Houston, baby. We're not going anywhere too crazy. Coach, I want to thank you for coming on with us and giving us your perspective on this last season and moving forward. Always a pleasure to have you on, and we'll make any excuse we can to do it again.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, and have a great summer, everybody.
Absolutely. Thank you, Coach Goble. Again, Jay Goble from Baylor Women's Golf, the head coach who took his team for the 4th time in the last 6 years to a top 15 finish in the NCAA tournament.